Adrian Cole had been married for exactly 37 days when his wife walked into his office, placed a folder on his desk, and said, "I want half." He looked up from his laptop slowly, not because he did not understand her, because he understood her too well. Vanessa stood on the other side of the desk, wearing the white silk blouse she had bought during their honeymoon in Italy, the diamond bracelet he had given her at the rehearsal dinner, and the kind of calm expression people wear when they have already spent money in their imagination. Adrian looked at the folder, then at his wife. "Half of what?" Vanessa smiled, but there was no warmth in it. "Don't play dumb, Adrian. Half of everything. The company, the house, the investment accounts, the cars, the shares, everything I'm entitled to." The room went quiet. Outside the glass wall, employees moved through the hallway with coffee cups and tablets, unaware that Adrian's marriage had just become a business demand. 5 weeks. That was all it had taken. 5 weeks earlier, Vanessa had stood in front of 200 guests in a hotel ballroom, held his hands, looked into his eyes, and promised to love him through every season. Now she was standing in his office, demanding half his wealth, like she had purchased a ticket and wanted her prize. Adrian leaned back in his chair. "You're asking for a divorce?" Vanessa tilted her head. "I'm asking for fairness." He almost smiled, not because anything was funny, because people often call greed fairness when they think the paperwork is on their side. Before we go further, comment where you're watching from, because this story is about what happens when someone mistakes a quiet man's kindness for weakness and forgets the one document that was written for exactly this moment. Adrian Cole was 41 years old, founder and majority owner of Cole Meridian Group, a private real estate and logistics investment firm built slowly over 15 years. He was not loud about money. He did not wear giant watches or postcards online. He still drove himself most days. He still answered emails late at night. He still remembered the years when the company had 3 employees, 1 rented office, and a credit line he had personally guaranteed with a shaking hand. He had grown up in a 2-bedroom apartment with his mother, a school secretary who taught him that money was not evil, but carelessness with money could ruin generations. His mother, Evelyn Cole, used to keep every receipt in a shoebox under her bed. "Paper remembers," she would say. "People forget when it benefits them." Adrian never forgot that. By the time he met Vanessa Hart, he had already learned the cost of trust without structure. Vanessa was 34, beautiful, polished, and impossible not to notice. She had the kind of presence that made rooms brighten when she entered. She worked in luxury brand consulting, though Adrian later realized that meant she was very good at knowing rich people and making them feel understood. They met at a private charity auction in Miami. Adrian had been standing near a sculpture he did not like, wondering how long he had to stay before leaving would seem rude. Vanessa walked up beside him and said, "You hate it too." He looked at her. "The sculpture? It looks like a twisted fork." Adrian laughed. That was the beginning. She was charming without trying too hard. Or maybe she was trying very hard and simply good at hiding it. She asked about his work, but not in the way people usually did. She did not ask what the company was worth. She asked what problem it solved. That impressed him. For 3 months, she seemed different. She remembered details, his mother's favorite flowers, his preference for black coffee, the name of the small restaurant where he took his first investor because it was the only place he could afford at the time. Vanessa made him feel seen. That was dangerous, because men who spend years being valued for what they provide can mistake attention for understanding. His best friend Marcus noticed something first. Marcus Grant had been Adrian's attorney, friend, and occasional reality check since their 20s. They had met in college when Adrian was studying finance and Marcus was arguing with a professor about contract language before he even had a law degree. When Adrian told Marcus he was thinking about proposing after 7 months, Marcus stared at him across a lunch table. 7 months. Adrian smiled. "I know. No, I'm asking if you know. She's not like that." Marcus leaned back. "Every man who needs a prenup says that right before he needs a prenup." Adrian's smile faded. "I was already going to ask. Good. I don't want it to feel insulting. Marcus laughed once. Protecting 15 years of work from a 7-month relationship is not insulting. It's math. Adrian knew he was right. Still, the conversation with Vanessa was difficult. They were at his house, a modern but understated place in Buckhead with warm wood floors, wide windows, and no gold furniture anywhere. Vanessa had been looking through wedding venue photos on her tablet when Adrian said her name. She looked up. What's wrong? Nothing. I need to talk to you about something before we go further. Her face softened. Okay. I want a prenup. The softness stayed for 2 seconds, then disappeared. A prenup? Yes. She set the tablet down slowly. Do you not trust me? I trust planning. That's not an answer. It is. She stood and walked to the window. So before we're even married, you're preparing for divorce? No. I'm protecting what existed before the marriage. She turned. And what about me? What protects me? The agreement will be fair. She laughed coldly. Fair according to who? Your attorney? Your attorney too. You'll have independent counsel. I'll pay for it if you want, but they represent you. That caught her. She had expected a fight. Adrian gave her a process. Vanessa cried that night, not loudly, quiet tears. She said she felt judged. She said women like her were always assumed to be after money. She said she loved him and could not believe he saw her that way. Adrian almost backed down. Almost. Then he heard his mother's voice. Paper remembers. So he did not back down. The prenup took 6 weeks. Marcus drafted it. Vanessa hired a family law attorney named Diane Phelps, who was sharp, experienced, and clearly not intimidated by Adrian's money. Negotiations were careful. Vanessa requested changes. Some were granted, some were rejected. There were financial disclosures, asset schedules, business valuations, and separate property definitions. The agreement was not cruel. If the marriage lasted less than 2 years, each party kept premarital assets, and Vanessa received a reasonable relocation and transition payment. If the marriage lasted longer, the settlement grew. If children came, separate provisions applied. If marital assets were created together, those would be divided according to the terms. But Cole Meridian Group, Adrian's existing company, his premarital home, trust assets, and pre-existing investment accounts were protected. Vanessa signed, not under pressure, not the night before the wedding, not without counsel. She signed 23 days before the ceremony in a conference room with her attorney sitting beside her. Adrian remembered the moment clearly. Diane asked, Vanessa, do you understand the rights you may be waiving? Vanessa nodded. Yes. Are you signing voluntarily? Yes. Do you need more time? No. Then she signed her name. Smooth, elegant, certain. Adrian signed after. Marcus collected the pages and said nothing, but later, in the hallway, he looked at Adrian and said, keep a copy somewhere she doesn't control. Adrian did. The wedding was beautiful. Too beautiful, maybe. 300 white roses, live jazz, custom invitations thick enough to feel like money. Vanessa changed dresses twice. Her friends posted everything. The ceremony video looked like a luxury campaign. During the vows, Vanessa cried. Adrian believed her tears. That was the painful part later. He did not think everything had been fake. He thought some people can feel real emotion and still want the wrong things more. The first week after the honeymoon was fine. Then the comments began, small at first. This house doesn't feel like ours. Why is your assistant still handling the household accounts? I don't want to feel like a guest in my own marriage. I should be added to more things. Adrian listened. He added her to some household planning tools, gave her access to a joint expense account, set up a generous monthly personal allowance because she said closing out her old apartment and restructuring her consulting work had interrupted her income. But he did not add her to the house deed. He did not transfer company shares. He did not change trust documents. That was when Vanessa's tone changed. By week 3, she wanted a new car, not because she needed one, because, according to her, the wife of a man like you shouldn't be arriving in a leased sedan. Adrian told her they could discuss it after the quarter closed. She did not like that. By week 4, she began inviting people to the house without asking. Stylists, designers, a social media consultant, a photographer. She said they were building a shared image. Adrian did not want a shared image. He wanted a marriage. One Thursday evening, he came home to find 3 strangers in his living room measuring walls. Vanessa stood beside them, holding fabric samples. "What's this?" She smiled brightly. "I'm warming the house. The house is warm. Not all safe. It's masculine, cold. It's my home." The smile disappeared. "Our home, Adrian." He looked at the strangers. "Please give us a moment." They left quickly. Vanessa waited until they were gone, then said, "You embarrassed me. You invited designers without telling me. I am your wife." "Yes." "Then stop treating me like a visitor." "I'm not. You are. You keep everything separate. Your house, your accounts, your company, your lawyers, your assistant, your life." Adrian looked at her carefully. "Vanessa, we have been married 4 weeks, and you're already counting." That sentence stayed with him, because he had not been counting. She had. Week 5 began with silence. Vanessa moved through the house like a storm, pretending to be weather. She answered him in short phrases. Slept, turned away. Spent hours on the phone with someone she refused to name. Adrian did not chase. That made her angrier. On Wednesday, Marcus called. "I need to ask you something." Adrian was in his office looking at a logistics acquisition proposal. "What? Has Vanessa asked you about the prenup recently?" Adrian sat back. "No. Her attorney requested a copy." "Diane?" "No. New attorney." Adrian went still. "What new attorney?" "A divorce attorney named Leonard Bale." There are moments when a man feels surprise and recognition at the same time. This was one of them. Adrian looked through the glass wall of his office at the city beyond. "What did you send?" "Nothing yet. I acknowledged the request. I wanted to speak with you first." "Send it." Marcus paused. "You sure?" "She's entitled to a copy. She already has one." "Then send it anyway." Marcus exhaled. "Adrian, I know. You may not." Adrian closed his eyes for 1 second, then opened them. "I know enough." The next day, Vanessa arrived at his office with the folder, the demand, half. She did not come alone. Her attorney, Leonard Bale, waited in the reception area downstairs, she said. She had come up privately first because she wanted to handle this with dignity. Adrian almost admired the phrasing. Dignity, apparently, meant ambushing a man at work after 37 days of marriage. He asked her to sit. She did not. "I know what the company is worth," she said. "No, you don't. I know enough." "What do you want, Vanessa?" "I told you." "Half." "Yes, after 5 weeks." She leaned forward. "Don't reduce our marriage to time." Adrian stood slowly. "Time is not a reduction, it's a fact." Her eyes hardened. "I gave up opportunities for this marriage. You closed 1 apartment lease and paused consulting for a month. I changed my life. You changed your address." That landed. Her face flushed. "You think you're so much smarter than everyone." "No," Adrian said. "I think you forgot what you signed." The folder on his desk suddenly looked smaller. Vanessa smiled. "You mean the prenup?" "Yes. My attorney says it can be challenged." "Anything can be challenged." "Good." Adrian nodded. "Then challenge it." She blinked. That was not the response she expected. He pressed the intercom. "Please ask Marcus to come up." Vanessa frowned. "Marcus is here?" "He's my general counsel." "You called him?" "No. He works here." For the first time, uncertainty passed across her face. Marcus entered 5 minutes later, carrying a slim black folder. He wore a charcoal suit, no tie, and the expression of a man who had predicted the weather and still disliked the rain. "Vanessa," he said politely. She crossed her arms. "Marcus." Adrian sat again. Marcus placed the folder on the desk. Inside was a copy of the prenup, signed, witnessed, notarized, initialed on every page. Marcus opened to the acknowledgement section. "Vanessa, this is your signature confirming you had independent counsel." She said nothing. He turned the page. This is your attorney's certification that she reviewed the agreement with you. Another page. This is the voluntary execution clause. Another. This is the waiting period confirmation. Signed 23 days before the wedding. Another. This is the asset schedule. Vanessa looked at Adrian. You planned for this. Adrian's voice was quiet. No. I protected against it. Marcus closed the document. If Mr. Bale files a challenge, we will respond. Fully. Vanessa laughed. It sounded thin now. You think a piece of paper scares me? No, Marcus said. But it will disappoint you. She picked up her folder. You'll hear from my attorney. Adrian nodded. I already have. She left. This time, no dramatic exit. Just heels against polished floor, getting quieter. That evening, Adrian went home late. The house felt different before he opened the door. Vanessa had removed several pieces from the living room. Not valuable family pieces. Decorative items she had purchased after the wedding. The large mirror by the hallway. 2 lamps. A sculpture he had never liked. Her clothes were gone from the closet. On the kitchen island, she had left her wedding ring. Beside it was a note. You made me feel like I was never really your wife. Adrian read it once, then placed it inside a drawer. Not because it did not hurt. Because he had learned long ago that some accusations are written to make the target bleed instead of reflect. The legal letter arrived 2 days later. Leonard Bale claimed Vanessa had signed under emotional pressure, that the agreement was unconscionable, that she did not understand the financial complexity, and that Adrian had misrepresented future expectations. Marcus read it aloud in Adrian's office. When he finished, he looked up. Standard attack. Adrian nodded. Is any of it dangerous? No. Annoying, but not dangerous. Diane Phelps kept excellent notes. Vanessa's own prenup attorney became important quickly. Diane had documented every meeting, every requested change, every explanation, every email where Vanessa confirmed she understood and wanted to proceed. She even had a memo stating Vanessa's exact words after signing. I know what I'm signing. I'm not marrying Adrian for his company. Marcus almost smiled when he read that line. Adrian did not. It hurt too much. Not because it damaged her case, because it reminded him that at some point she had known the right sentence to say. The first mediation was held in a private office downtown. Vanessa arrived with Leonard Bale and a new look. Softer, less luxury consultant, more wounded wife, cream dress, minimal jewelry, no sharp lipstick. Adrian recognized performance when he saw it now. Leonard began with sympathy. My client entered this marriage believing it was a true partnership. Marcus responded with paper. My client entered this marriage after full financial disclosure, independent counsel, and a negotiated premarital agreement. Leonard said the marriage may have changed Vanessa's lifestyle expectations. Marcus said 5 weeks did not convert separate property into marital property. Leonard said Vanessa had relocated emotionally. Marcus asked if emotional relocation had a forwarding address. Adrian almost coughed. Vanessa glared at both of them. Then she spoke. I loved you. Adrian looked at her. I believe you loved parts of what life with me looked like. Her eyes filled. That's cruel. No, he said. Cruel was standing in my office after 37 days and asking for half of a life you did not help build. The room went quiet. Leonard shifted. My client is willing to resolve this privately for a reasonable lump sum. Marcus opened the agreement. The prenup already provides that. The amount is insufficient. It was sufficient when she signed it. Vanessa leaned forward. I didn't know you would treat me like an outsider. Adrian's voice stayed calm. You asked for ownership before you built trust. I was your wife. You were my wife. That made you family. It did not make you the founder of my company. That was the sentence that ended the first mediation. Not officially, but everyone knew. Over the next month, Vanessa's case weakened. Diane Phelps provided records. Emails surfaced showing Vanessa had negotiated specific terms, including increasing the transition payment if the marriage ended within 2 years. Text messages to a friend became relevant after discovery began. One message, sent 3 days before the wedding, read, The prenup is annoying, but if he's as generous after marriage as he is now, I'll be fine. Another, 2 weeks after the wedding, He's not moving fast enough on the house or accounts. I need to push harder. Another, 4 days before the office demand. If I file now, he'll pay to avoid embarrassment. When Adrian read that one, he felt something close in him. Not anger, closure. Marcus watched him carefully. You okay? Adrian placed the page down. I think I just stopped wondering. That helps. It does. Vanessa settled before trial. The agreement followed the prenup. She received the transition payment she had negotiated. No company shares, no house interest, no investment split, no half. The marriage ended in less time than some business acquisitions. On the day he signed the final documents, Adrian sat in Marcus's office. Marcus handed him the pen. You sure you don't want to fight the transition payment? No. She tried to take half, and failed. She doesn't deserve generosity. Adrian looked at the document. This isn't generosity. It's the contract. Marcus nodded, approving despite himself. You sound like me. Terrifying. Adrian signed. 5 months later, Vanessa tried to return. Not physically at first. A message. Adrian, I know things went too far. I felt insecure. I felt like I had no place in your world. I wish we could talk without lawyers. He read it standing in the same office where she had demanded half. For a moment, he remembered the charity auction, the twisted fork sculpture, her laugh, the way she had asked what problem his company solved. He remembered the woman he thought he was marrying. Then he remembered the text. If I file now, he'll pay to avoid embarrassment. He forwarded the message to Marcus. Marcus replied, do not answer. Adrian did not. Life did not become instantly joyful. That would be too easy. He felt embarrassed. Not publicly, privately. Embarrassed that he had almost mistaken performance for partnership. Embarrassed that his friends had seen risk before he admitted it. Embarrassed that 5 weeks had revealed what 7 months had hidden. His mother handled it differently. Evelyn came over one Sunday afternoon with soup he did not ask for and sat at his kitchen island like she owned the room. You look tired, she said. I am. Good. Tired means you're feeling it instead of pretending. He smiled faintly. She pointed toward the drawer where he had placed Vanessa's note weeks earlier. You still keeping that? How do you know? I'm your mother. He took the note out and handed it to her. She read it. Then she set it down. She wanted you to confuse access with love. Adrian looked at her. That's simple? Most painful things are simple after they stop happening. He sat across from her. I wanted to be fair. You were. I didn't want to be cold. Boundaries feel cold to people who wanted warmth without responsibility. He looked down. Evelyn reached across the island and touched his hand. You did not lose a wife. You lost a test that failed itself. That stayed with him. A year later, Adrian attended another charity event. He almost skipped it. Marcus told him hiding would give Vanessa's ghost too much real estate. So Adrian went. Same city, different ballroom, better sculpture. He stood near the exit again, older in a way no mirror could show. A woman beside him looked at the sculpture and said, that looks expensive enough for people to pretend it makes sense. Adrian turned. She was smiling. Her name was Camille Ross. She was a nonprofit director, 40, sharp-eyed, and entirely uninterested in his net worth once she discovered he was not personally funding the event. They talked for 11 minutes before she asked him what he did. When he told her, she said, that sounds like a lot of responsibility. Not money, responsibility. He noticed. Months later, when they began dating, Adrian told her about the prenup early. Camille listened, then said, good, I have assets too. We should both be protected. No tears, no accusation, no performance, just maturity. Adrian laughed. She looked confused. What? Nothing, he said. That was just refreshing. 2 years after Vanessa walked into his office demanding half, Adrian married again. Small ceremony this time. 40 people. No campaign video. No dress change. No public display of wealth pretending to be romance. The prenup was signed 6 weeks before the wedding. Camille's attorney was tougher than Marcus, which Marcus found both irritating and impressive. At the reception, Evelyn raised a glass. To love with wisdom. Everyone drank to that. Adrian looked at Camille. She squeezed his hand under the table. Not for the cameras. There were hardly any, just because she wanted to. Later that night, Adrian stood outside under string lights and thought about the sentence Vanessa had said in his office. I want half. At the time, it had sounded like the end of something. Now he understood it had been the beginning of clarity. The prenup did not save his money only. It saved his future from being negotiated by guilt. It protected the company built from years of risk, the house purchased before applause, the trust his mother's sacrifices had helped create, and the man he might have become if he had let someone shame him out of his own boundaries. Vanessa had demanded half his wealth after 5 weeks, but the prenup had other plans. And sometimes, the most powerful voice in the room is not the loudest person, not the angriest demand, not the tearful accusation. Sometimes it is the paper everyone signed before the mask slipped. Adrian looked across the garden at his wife, laughing with his mother. Then he smiled, not because he had won against Vanessa, because he had finally learned the difference between someone who wants your life and someone who wants to build one with you.